Welcome back to Money Man Majid. We have our second interview with the monk here, and we're going to dig into a little bit further questions, some things that we missed last time, and some things that other people brought up and they were wondering about. Well, thanks for coming back on the channel again. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
I dug a little bit deeper into your website, and some more questions came up, and some other people had some questions as well regarding your journey, the spiritual aspect of it, and the financial aspect of it. So I want to dig a little bit deeper into that. You mentioned Megatropolis a lot on your website.
I do.
What do you mean by Megatropolis, and like the cost of living that the Megatropolis takes from us, and how you combat that?
Well, Megatropolis is kind of a generic term, so I don't offend anybody, offend anybody. It just it spreads responsibility out over everybody, all of us. Megatropolis, yeah.
Okay.
And then what was the other part?
The cost of living with the Megatropolis.
Oh.
There's a big cost to that. How do you combat that cost?
Well, I just live an ages-old nomadic way of life. My expenses are, just food and clothes, and I have to shoe the mules when I'm doing it myself. It's doesn't cost me much, and maintenance on my gear, and the way of life is very inexpensive because you're not seeking a house, you're not seeking a car, you're not seeking basically anything the man-made world, the Megatropolis, has to offer and provide. Other than the basics, we don't seek it. We don't need it.
What advice would you give to somebody that's younger, that's still just getting started in life today, to be more frugal, to enjoy life a little bit more, and not get sucked in by the Megatropolises?
Yeah, well, if you're in debt, you're basically a slave to the Megatropolis. You wind up doing a lot of stuff you don't want to do to pay your debts. So don't get into debt, and look to the spiritual side instead of the materialistic. The Megatropolis controls the material world on this earth, and if you seek material things, it's going to cost you a lot of money, and to get that money, it's going to cost your time. Time is your money, or money is your time. If you don't need a lot of money, then the time belongs to you, to be creative with it and use it in ways you choose to use it.
So you've been living the nomadic lifestyle for numerous years.
Yep.
In your perspective, how has that made you more wealthy?
Well, spiritually, yeah, I get the things money can't buy. Anybody that lives spiritually is going to get the things that money can't buy. You can't. It doesn't seem you can really mix the two worlds. The Megatropolis is the material energy on this earth, and then the spiritual energy is the things that we all experience in a unique way, peculiar to ourselves. We often refrain from talking about it because it's so difficult, it's so unique, it's so difficult to translate to others. But it's most valuable. It is the true wealth. In terms of money, I don't feel like, I look around, everything here has been provided for me, and it's provided by the energy that is harbored and accumulated through a spiritual life. It materializes into what we need in the material world. And so I don't work for paper money. I don't work for fiat dollars. Sometimes I'll work, I'll stay somewhere for a few days, and I'll shovel manure and clean stalls, but I won't take any money for it, because I know, whatever I need comes back through the energy I acquire by the way I live spiritually.
How did you get so connected with the spiritual aspect of life? Because it very much so in today's world, it's a new movement that many people today are saying they're spiritual, quote unquote. Yet you seem to be living that way of life. How did you get connected with that initially?
Well, it's in all of us, you know. We're all spiritual. That's what we really are. Uh, yeah, we're unique. We're a unique spiritual entity. There's nobody like us. There's nobody ever will be. And we all, the spiritual is pulling us as well as the material. And there's this constant struggle between these two powerful forces to get our attention and to get our energy. And the Megatropolis wants to control our energy and use it for its own self. It has an insatiable appetite for human energy, human pain, and misery. The spiritual side, the light, wants you to give it your energy and willingly, and participate in the path towards with that energy. It's a dance. It's an unchoreographed dance that you experience. It's totally unique to yourself. There's nothing. There's nothing that can replace it. It is the true wealth. The Megatropolis is pony wealth. It's a paradigm we're born into, and we're tricked in believing that that's what we have to do, is acquire paper money so we can buy stuff. But the stuff is dust. It doesn't go with you. The spiritual stuff, what you learn and struggle for on this earth, it goes with you. It becomes you, and that's your wealth. That's the way we see it.
So, previously in our last interview, you mentioned that if somebody gave you $1 million, you would still live the way you are. So that begs the question that I am wondering: what does money really mean to you?
Very little. Very little, because I don't even need it. The spiritual energy that we acquire by the way we live materializes into anything we need, whether it's a material object. I'll find a lot of my clothes I just find alongside of the road. I need a coat. Last year we were down in we were up in Gilroy. It was really cold, and I lost my coat, and I spent a couple of cold days, but the energy said, just don't, it'll show up. And so lo and behold, we were walking along the road, and there it was, perfect, nice warm coat. I still got it. Yeah, and that's not isolated. It happens all the time, constantly.
So if you, for instance, ran into $1 million, what would you do with it?
Well, there was a greedy part side of me, for sure. But after I thought it through, I'd give it away. I got no use for it. There's not, especially at my age. I'm following the spiritual path. That's where my future is. There's no future in money, no future in the material world.
If you were to share with someone who is seeking their calling or their passion, what would you recommend that they do?
Give all their energy to it.
If they don't know what they want to do.
Well, we all know. We're all communicated to by the spiritual path. I started doing this 37 years ago. And I started, I wasn't spiritually aware. I just decided I wanted to get a mule to pack my stuff rather than haul it around on my back. And so I did. And bought my first mule when I was 36. And so improved my life. I just never let go. And here I am 30 plus years later.
So people today, they run after so much and they desire so much in the Megatropolis. How are you able to be so happy with so little when people desire so much more?
Go back to the same thing, spiritual wealth. That's what I'm getting. That's why I feel good. That's why I'm happy. That's why I'm not full of fear and worry and all that because I'm not captured by the Megatropolis and its materialistic paradigm. I'm, I'm moving towards the light. I'm not seeking what the darkness has to offer. Yep.
Do you have a definition of what the light means to you?
Yeah, it's creation. It's God. It's however you want to put it. It's that part of us that always, asks us to do the impossible. The other part of us that says, "Oh, you can't do that. That'll never happen. That'll never work." But the good part, the light, is always asking you to do, have the faith and step out and do what you don't think you could ever do.
How many places or states have you traveled to with your mules?
Oh, we've been all over most of the western United States. One year we got far back east as Arkansas. So we've been Oregon, Nevada, California, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona.
And all these places you walked over there?
Yeah, walk, yeah. Yeah, all walk. Yeah, like we get in a car, it's like being dead. You just stare out the window at the world. I remember when I was a kid and going to school, you get on the bus and you just stare out the window at the world, and it seems so meaningless. I say I want to be out there in those hills, crawling around, finding out what's over the next hill. I want to go down the next canyon. I don't want to be sitting in this damn bus,
Yeah.
It's just so, yeah.
On very hot days, water's more of a necessity. I saw on your website that your mules can go 3 days without water.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that on very hot days, though, where you're going to be sweating more and the mules are going to be exerting more energy?
Well, when we're traveling in the Megatropolis like we're traveling now, there's no problem with water. We get water off of buildings. We get water off just about any building. We go into a neighborhood, pull off a boulevard, go into a neighborhood and knock on somebody's door and ask them if we get some water and fill our bucket up and get water. So there's no water problem at all. In the early days when we were wandering around in the bush, there was a problem. The water was scarce. But the mules, their mobility far out, lack of a better word, far outweighs the shortage of water. And so, they'll always find water because they can cover so much ground. And we always did, yeah. And then I always carried 9 quarts of water. I had 2 gallons in my pack boxes and 1 quart on my saddle. So whenever we left a creek or a stream, I always filled up. And I was never, in all that time, and some of the 100-degree plus days out in the summer and everything, I was never without water. I always had water to cook a meal and drink.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were in a really dangerous spot with wildlife?
No. I've seen bears, from time to time, they were always at a far off distance, and that made me feel very good. But I never was...
Mountain lions and
Oh, well, yeah, I was a long time ago. Before I had the mules, I was riding around on a bicycle in Arizona, and I ditched my bike, and then I was hiking along the Verde River, and so I was hiking along the Verde River, and it was getting dark, and so it was time to find a place to make a camp. And I noticed when I was walking along the river, mountain lion tracks, and so anyway, I looked up the side of the hill, and I could see all these nice shelves, flagstone type shelves. And so we wound up going up there and making our camp for the night. And the thought came to me while I was cooking my dinner, this would be a great place for that mountain lion to hang out and watch the bank for something, moving up and down. And so anyway, I ate my dinner and went to sleep. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was this big mountain lion standing over me. He woke me up with his purr, you know, it sounded like a tractor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and his claws are going in and out of his paws, and he was standing right over me. So I got up out of my sleeping bag, started hollering and yelling, and that's the last I saw of him. But that was the only encounter I really had. Yep.
Wow. That'd be a scary way to wake up.
Yeah, it was. It was totally unexpected, but...
Do you have a funny story or a funny experience that you typically recall or think back to on your travels?
No. I can't think of anything really, but I do get a lot of laughs thinking about stuff when I'm out there by myself, that's for sure. But I can't really think of a particular story.
So in modern society, there's a lot of drains and a lot of negativity in it. Where in your perspective, is our biggest downfall as a society as a whole?
And we're disconnected. We're disconnected from nature. You know, people are all buzzing around, these sealed up in these boxes with wheels on them, and they're totally disconnected from the earth. And that's the problem. You can't be happy. You're a human being. You were designed to be connected to the earth. You know, to be on a day, moment-to-moment basis, to be interacting with the forces of nature. And most people are no longer in that state. And that's what's breeding the misery. That's what causes the mental illness. When I was a kid, I was just totally disconnected. I was raised up in the Megatropolis, sent to school, watched television, and I was totally, completely disconnected. And I spent my young years mentally sick, mentally ill. And I didn't start to heal until way later in life. Yeah.
Was there a reason that you decided to take the more spiritual path?
Yeah, because I became aware of it. And its awareness grew in me and became stronger and stronger. It was obvious that was a better way to be, better way to go than where I was. Where I was horrible. You know, I've been in Megatropolis most of my life, and it had got me nowhere I wanted to be. And so I tried the spiritual, and you know, it's never ending. You never. There's no end to it. You're just continually striving and taking steps forward, steps backward, and then steps forward. That's the way it is for me.
I also noticed on your website that you call yourself a vegetarian, and I'm assuming that you are a vegetarian. Is there a reason behind that?
Well, I'm a vegetarian out of practicality. I like meat, and when it's offered to me, I gladly accept it. But left on my own out here, hauling meat around, it takes a lot of time to cook it. It has to be eaten rather quickly after you buy it. It's a lot more expensive. It's just not that practical. Being a vegetarian, you got dry goods, canned goods. It's just easier, quicker. And I enjoy a vegetable scheme just as much as I do meat. So, yeah.
So it sounds like it's just more a matter of convenience.
Yeah, yeah.
I noticed that every time we've met, you've had sandals on. Is that your primary footwear, or is there a reason behind that?
Oh, yeah. I was about 25 years ago. I wore shoes. I wore boots, shoes. And we left Fresno, and we were moving across the desert. We went through a town called Ridgecrest, California. And then we went through there, and then we would start moving out through the desert. And it was, 100+ degree weather. And these darn shoes, my feet would sweat inside of them, and then you get all the dust, and you get the shoe goo, and you set your foot down, and the foot goes one way, the shoe goes the other, and they're like ovens. Your feet just cook inside of them, and you just feel horrible. So anyway, I got out in the desert, and I met this old guy. I ran into his place, and he asked me to stay for a few days, so I did, and rested my meals. And he introduced me to sandals. He had an extra pair, and he said, "Here, you can wear these while you're, around because my feet were suffering so bad from the boots. And so I put them on, and that was, geez, over 25 years ago, and I never wore another pair of shoes. Never wore another pair of shoes. And, I stay with, our scheme, how we stay warm is by traveling with the weather, with the sun, with the season. So I'm always in warm enough climate to where I don't have to wear shoes.
How many miles or how long do you get out of a pair?
That's a good question. The longest I ever got out of a pair was, I got 9 months. I got 9 months, and that was in the bush. I was walking, over rocks and through grass and all that stuff. That's the most I ever got.
Is there a specific brand or pair that you always gravitate towards?
Well, that pair I got 9 months out of, those were Tevas. And these are Tevas, and these are working pretty good for me right now. Yeah, it's pretty good.
So you talk about the spirit and energy and your awareness that you got around it. How did you become aware of it, and how have you connected with it further?
Well, it's in us. It's in all of us. Yeah, the spiritual side and the two forces are pulling on both the darkness, the Megatropolis, whatever you want to call it, and it's pulling, and the light is pulling the other way, and it's a struggle. We're all engaged in this struggle to find our way.
How do you increase your awareness of it?
Well, fasting is always good. I haven't fasted for all that long. The longest I've ever fasted is 4 days, but it's certainly one way to do it because it's worth doing.
So when you're fasting, are you avoiding all food and just drinking water, or are you avoiding everything?
Just drinking water.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fasting helps you increase your awareness.
It does.
Is there any other things that you do on a daily basis that helps improve that or increase that at a deeper level?
Walking. Do it all day, every day. I get up. Lots of times I'm tired as hell. I'm sore, whatever. Not feeling very good. But once I get those meals packed up and I start walking with them behind me, it's just like drinking a magic elixir. I just takes care of everything. The energy from doing that is so healing. Yep.
How do you connect with it at a deeper level on a daily basis or a weekly basis? With awareness or the spiritual aspect of your life, how are you continually staying in touch with it or reconnecting with it?
Oh, it's all day long. It's just the way you live. It's telling you how it wants you to live, and just take only what you need. That's the basic law. Take only what you need from the material world, and seek from the spiritual world.
So, since March of last year, the United States has been battling COVID. I'm sure you've been aware of that and heard that.
Yeah.
How has that changed or affected your journey at all? Or have you even noticed anything different with it?
Well, I noticed people wearing masks, and when I see somebody with a mask, it's just, I can't think of the words to explain it. It's so, it's macabre. And that's the only way it's affected me. I put a mask on when I go in the grocery store. I got a scarf I put on. But I can't imagine wearing a mask all day long. It just, human beings got faces, we got faces, and that's what they're for, to express and communicate. Why would you ever cover it up? Beyond me.
So if you could make a recommendation to the people that wear masks, or maybe the people that are really concerned about the health climate of the world, mm-hmm. What would you recommend to maybe help heal that or help them overcome the fear that they get from, oh my gosh, I might get COVID, or I might get sick, I might infect somebody else with that? How would you recommend them overcome that fear so that they can in turn become a better person? Or be more powerful or more confident with their daily activity?
Well, there's a million and one ways to die. COVID is just one. Might be the one way. There's millions of others. And why live in fear of something you can't control? What's the point? You know? Why live in fear of something you can't control?
So I'm sure a lot of people help you along your way, and people donate things to you all the time. People
Yep.
say hello. People stop by and ask if you need anything.
Hmm.
Is there anything that maybe the world can do to help you out on your journey, or maybe as you're traveling along, if somebody sees you along their way that really helps keep you going or keeps you motivated, that
Yeah,
viewers could
yeah.
potentially do?
We have people stop and make the effort to stop their car, find a place to park, and then make contact with us. The energy of making that effort is, that's the wealth we collect. That is the wealth. That is the energy that turns and materializes into whatever we need as we go through the day. And that's it. That's the real wealth for us.
So it doesn't bother you at all when somebody stops by, asks for a picture, or sees
No,
what's going
no,
on?
it doesn't. No,
So you actually enjoy that?
yeah, because we're taking in that energy. It's all positive. It benefits us. Why? Yeah, absolutely. And our energy benefits them. That's why they're made the effort. That's why they made the effort to make contact with us.
It's beautiful.
The meals, this place in which we reside, of one human being traveling in one of all four directions freely on this earth with respect and reverence for this earth. We carry the energy of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, and people can feel it. That's why they stop their cars and make the effort to get over here and pet the meals and yeah.
So I've got one final question in closing. It is getting a little later and the sun's going down, and I want to be respectful of your time as well. If you could share 3 things with the world, and these are the only 3 things that you could be remembered by, what would these 3 things be?
Just be one thing, and that's just us seeing us walk down the road free and happy to be alive, be human beings, and knowing that people, that energy affects others, and that would be it. Yeah,
And you have 2 more, or is that just the one thing?
just the one. That's 100 things right there. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and every time we have a conversation, it's always something new that I pick up on and just see a whole new different aspect of life and somebody else. So I do appreciate the time. I appreciate your energy, and good luck on your travels.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yep.
If you guys enjoyed this content and this interview, let us know and put some comments down below. We'd be happy to collaborate with you. The mule would as well like to collaborate with you. In case you have any other questions, we could get those over to him and he can hopefully get those answered for you. He does have an Instagram page and a website. Go over, show him some love on those different channels and different pages. Let's support him and keep him going. He does have a tracking as well on his website, and you can kind of see where he is on his Instagram channel. So if you do see him in your area, maybe seek him out. Stop by, say hello, take a picture, and throw some of your energy his way as well. Again, thank you for joining us, and look forward to you in future videos.